My first overall play is going to be Russell Wilson over 1 passing touchdown. He only has to get 1 tonight, guys. In this video, you're going to find out why. Throughout this video, I'm going to be explaining to you guys a strategy called the positive EV strategy, also utilizing a strategy called the correlation strategy. And I'm going to show you guys why this strategy overall is profitable. 99% of sports bettors, whether they play on PrizePicks, whether they play on the sports books, are not profitable long term. Guys, a huge reason why this channel actually doesn't get much love and isn't as big as the rest of the community is because a lot of people don't believe the stuff that we teach. Again, keep in mind that 99% of sports bettors are not profitable long term. So if you're the 1% of people actually willing to listen to this video, guys, stay tuned. I'm going to show you exactly how to profit utilizing the correlation strategy in this video. Now, in order to understand why the correlation strategy works, you first need to understand how the PrizePicks payouts work. PrizePicks is a fixed fantasy platform, meaning they don't alter their payouts regardless of the type of combination of players, whether you put them over overs, mixing and matching different sports, putting all the same players from the same team in a specific slip. So with a few exceptions, of course. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and I'm going to prove to you guys the math behind PrizePicks. And what we need to do is understand the hit rate per leg. Basically the break-even percentage per leg based on the implied odds per leg. And I know, this is going to seem confusing at first, but once I break it down, it's going to become a lot easier to understand. So on PrizePicks, you know that you can just willy-nilly play any specific player that you guys want to play. If I take Josh Allen, if I take Russell Wilson over, in the same game, Jalen Brunson over, we'll take the under on Derek White, we'll take the over on Mitchell Robinson, and we'll also throw in Porzingis over, right? The payouts never change. For a 6 flex, I'm always going to get 25x for going 6 of 6. 5 out of 6, I'm always going to get 2x. And then 4 out of 6, I'm going to get 0.4x of whatever my buy-in is. But if I put less on maybe all these players, if I decide to change Josh Allen to a less than, I'm still not altering the payouts. As you can see here, the payouts never change. It's only when you put in all unders from the same NFL game when the payouts actually do shift, but we're not going to do that in this video, which is why we prefer mostly overs from NFL. Anyway, that's beside the point. What you guys need to understand is that on this fixed payout platform, payouts never change. On PrizePicks, on Underdog, on Parlay Play, and on Jock Market, right? That is the benefit of having a fantasy platform that you can bet on, is because these payouts never change. But why this is advantageous is because when you switch over to a sports book like FanDuel, like DraftKings, whatever sportsbook is legal in your state, and a lot of you don't even have sportsbooks to even bet on, so it's really hard to directly compare. But what you can do is you can pull up a sportsbook and have a logged out version to really prove this to yourself. They always are changing the payouts. The dynamic payouts are always altering, and that's because the sportsbooks know there is an advantageous strategy, the correlating plays together from the same game. Meaning if I take the over on Josh Allen, if I take the over of Russell Wilson, those two plays together are positively correlated, right? The better that Russell Wilson does means that the closer the game is probably, which means Josh Allen is also probably dialed in and he's throwing for more yards, right? That's just common sense. So if I positively correlate these two plays together, as you can see here, the payout does not shift. It's not altered here based on these two individual players. But if I also take it a step further, right? If I go ahead and I throw in one of Josh Allen's favorite receivers, Stephon Diggs, the payout's still not shifted. You're always getting 5x for a 3-man power, regardless of the type of combination of players that you put in here. So again, this is really good to know because the dynamic payouts are always changing on FanDuel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to positively correlate plays together from the same game tonight and show you guys that the payouts are not shifted. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take those odds per leg and directly compare them over to FanDuel and see if there's a mathematical profitable edge by simply playing this parlay on PrizePicks opposed to FanDuel. So again, in order to one-to-one compare over to FanDuel, we need to understand the implied odds per leg that we're getting in a 5 flex or 6 flex slip. And this sheet is going to seem very confusing, but I'm going to walk through it with you guys just so you understand the math and just so you can grasp it. And I know this is going to be a lot of math thrown at you guys, but I promise I'm going to try to make it as easy to understand as possible. So in order to beat PrizePicks long term, you need to obtain a certain break-even percentage per leg. Because what they do, what PrizePicks does, is they charge some added juice on each individual leg, even though they're a fixed payout platform. And they talk about no implied odds, they still have built-in implied odds per leg. That's how they remain profitable. That's how they beat out the public long term, right? So let's assume that I am a casual sports bettor and I'm hitting on 50% of my legs. Usually, generally speaking, that's the average sports bettor. They're only hitting at a coin flip chance per leg. So let's assume that I'm hitting at a 50% hit rate per leg. I'm losing $3.28 per leg, or per slip, overall per slip, for every $10 that I'm putting on that slip long term if I'm only hitting at a 50% hit rate per leg, right? Let's break this down. If I'm hitting 50% each leg, I'm going to go 0 of 6, 1.56% of the time. The exact same thing can be said for going 6 out of 6, right? Because 50% per leg, that's what it's going to come out to. And the exact same thing can be said for 1 out of 6 as opposed to 5 out of 6. I'm only hitting those legs. I'm hitting that slip 1 out of 6 or 5 out of 6, 9.38% of the time, assuming I'm hitting at a 50% hit rate. Well, I'm also showing the EV, the amount made in each scenario that I'm going 0 of 6, 1 out of 6, 2 out of 6. In the long term, right? So again, I can assume that at a 50% hit rate, I'm going to lose $3.28 in the long term per $10 that I put onto a slip in a 6-man flex slip. But let's just hypothetically say that I'm a sharp sports bettor and I don't happen to hit at a 50% hit rate. And hopefully a lot of you are hitting above that rate. But there's a way to obtain a higher percentage by observing the market, by simply using this strategy in this video. And let's just hypothetically say, I bring this percentage up to 52%. Well, now I'm only losing $1.85 per slip that I'm putting in on a 6 flex slip per $10 that I do per slip. But as you can see, I'm still losing long term. So what's that break-even percentage? And I only know this because I've done this a million times, right? It's going to be 54.21%. And as you can see, now I'm starting to break even. As long as I'm hitting each individual player prop within a 6 flex slip at a 54.21% chance, I'm going to obtain these individual scenario hit rates. I'm going to go 6 of 6, 2.54% of the time. And if I achieve anything higher than that, well, then I'm going to remain a profitable sports bettor. Okay, what if I'm able to bring this up to, like, let's say 60? Well, now I'm going 6 of 6, 4.67% of the time, and now my ROI expected per $10 put down is going to be $6.64, which is insane, right? Playing the long-term game. Keep in mind that even in this video, at obtaining 60+% of each individual hit rate, I'm only going to go 6 of 6 about 5% of the time. If I'm rounding up too, I'm being generous here. So you guys have to really understand that playing the long-term game, that means 20 videos posted on this YouTube channel, I'm only hitting or going 6 of 6, 1 video for every 20 videos, but that's more than enough to remain profitable long-term. A lot of you guys have a tough time grasping that concept. Wrap your head around all of this math, and obtaining a break-even percentage of 60% is insanely hard and really is unrealistic unless you're utilizing some sort of strategy that allows you to obtain a break-even percentage of 60%. That is just crazy. You guys need to be focusing on strategies that allow you to be profitable long-term, and just simply picking player props is not an obtainable strategy. It's not. Your projected win percentage is going to be closer to 50% by simply picking. It might even be lower than actually trusting the market and utilizing strategies in this video. So anyway, this break-even percentage is now 54.21%, which equates to a minus 118 implied odds value. That means if I find individual leg hit rates of at least fair odds percentage of anything higher than minus 118.38%, I'm going to remain a profitable sports bettor long term, assuming that the data is accurate, and it is. That's the reason that these sports books are able to stay in business, because they simply make money off their sports bettors. So now let's switch over to a tool called the DGFantasy correlation tool. The correlation tool shows you the most profitable correlated slips by simply comparing market values and then showing you the highest correlated, most profitable combos based on the current market and the available player props on PrizePicks. So we're going to sift through this and we're going to look at these props, and I'm going to show you guys exactly why these are profitable and how they are highly correlated. So now let's take the slip recommended on the tool, head back over here, and we're going to walk through this slip that it's recommending together to make sure it actually is profitable, right? Josh Allen over 23.5 passing completions. We're going to go ahead and throw in Josh Allen here. Over passing completions, right? We talked about this earlier in the video, but two opposing quarterbacks, the overs are positively correlated just like the unders, but as you guys can see here, regardless of the type of combos that I'm putting in for these quarterbacks, the payouts are not altered. And the same thing applies for 6-man flex slips. So over passing completions is positively correlated with Russell Wilson. It's pretty straightforward, right? The better that Russell Wilson is doing, meaning the better that Josh Allen has to do, and vice versa, right? So at least based on the spread here, Josh Allen's probably going to be playing from ahead, which means Russell Wilson's going to be forced to throw the ball more. These two quarterbacks are positively correlated. But let's take it a step further here, and let's go down to his favorite wide receiver. Actually, both are favorite wide receivers on both sides. Stephon Diggs over receiving targets. The more passing completions thrown for Josh Allen means probably the most or more receiving targets by his favorite wide receiver. So we're going to hit the over of Stephon Diggs, the over of Josh Allen, and then we also are going to be hitting the over of Courtland Sutton's receiving yards. These plays are all very heavily positively correlated. So as you can see here, passing props are heavily correlated with over receiving props. And then we're going to take it a step further here, hit the under of these punting props. So we're going to hit the under on Dixon, the under of Martin, because as you guys can see here, if all these players are having very good games, that means there's probably not going to be as much punting involved in this game. So we're going to take the under on Sam Martin and Riley Dixon. We want these guys to be in the red zone a lot, right? And that game script, this game script is very favorable given the overs of Josh Allen, the over of Russell Wilson passing touchdowns, and the same thing with the over of their favorite wide receivers. So this would be the slip. This is the most profitable slip as of right now, according to the correlation tool, where it's scanning individual plus EV percentages on each leg, and then taking it a step further and saying, hey, this is the most profitable correlated combo that we have to offer as of right now. So now what we're going to do is take this one step further, compare the parlay odds of plus 3850 on PrizePicks directly over to FanDuel, the single game parlay odds, and see how these dynamic odds are shifting based on positive correlation on FanDuel. And again, FanDuel, one of the most profitable sportsbooks in the entire US, so it's really good to trust their judgment on these props. And I'm going to start with passing completions. I want you guys to see this because this is actually freaking crazy. By the way, it's favored over minus 136 on FanDuel, which again, you're getting this exact player prop on PrizePicks at minus 119 implied odds, as described and explained earlier in this video. And what I want you guys to do, what I want you guys to observe here is to see how FanDuel actually keeps you from entering this slip. Watch this. So I actually can't compare one-to-one single game parlay odds because FanDuel, I'll move my head here to prove it to you guys, simply doesn't allow you to combine these two player props in one exact entry because there's such a mathematical advantage. Passing completions in a single game parlay is almost unheard of across the sports books, but PrizePicks allows you to do this. I can place this slip, but on FanDuel, I cannot. So in order to do a one-to-one comparison, I'm just simply going to put like his passing yards over, and now it allows me to directly compare. Another thing to note is I'm getting Russell Wilson on PrizePicks again at 1 passing touchdown. I'm hitting the over here at 1.5 at plus 154. I only need Russell Wilson to technically end at 1 or go over. This prop here is completely different from the one that I'm entering over here. Like obviously plus 154 is completely different from 1 at minus 119 implied odds because I have that push probability as well. So even with the unavailability of all these props here, these player props that you can put on PrizePicks opposed to FanDuel, let's still take it a step further and see what these odds are giving us. So I have Russell Wilson over passing touchdowns, and we can't put passing completions in there. So let's go ahead and throw in Josh Allen's over passing yards, and then we'll go ahead and throw in Diggs. And they don't even offer targets. So let's just go with receptions. We might as well. Like there's nothing else to really one-to-one compare. So let's put Diggs over 6.5 receptions opposed to his 9.5 targets. If he's getting 6.5 receptions, he's most likely going over 9.5 targets in general. And then let's go ahead and throw in Sutton yards. And we can't even put in punter props because they don't allow you to put in punter props into a single game parlay. They don't even offer them on FanDuel. So it just shows you yet another edge here on PrizePicks. Let's just throw in some of their favorite over wide receiver yards, Gabe Davis, and we'll throw in Jerry Jeudy. And the single game parlay odds that we are getting for this entire slip is going to be plus 2441. Now, comparing this over the PrizePicks is actually difficult because we have the added insurance. So in order to really understand what odds you're getting on PrizePicks, what I did is I took the break-even percentage fair odds at minus 118.4, we'll round up, and I put those into a parlay calculator, what the dynamic sportsbook would pay me out at, assuming the fair odds of each individual leg. And I'm getting this at plus 38.45, we'll round up to plus 38.50. Comparing these odds at plus 38.50, again, keeping in mind that I have even better odds on all these individual players and the fact that I'm even able to take these player props of passing completions, even punters, over these parlay odds of plus 24.41. Drastically different. these are the odds I'm getting on PrizePicks. These are the odds I'm getting on FanDuel. And that's why this strategy is mathematically advantageous. This slip, regardless of whether it hits or not, as long as you're playing these types of slips, utilizing the correlation tool, you will remain a profitable sports bettor. Hopefully that all makes sense, guys. And hopefully you enjoyed this content. If you did, please do hit that subscription button, notification bell, and of course, smash that like button for all of our future NFL content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your day, and let's cash.